Welcome, everyone. Today we are tackling a critical administrative task, managing licenses within Microsoft Entra ID. Let's get started and ensure your users have exactly the access they need. Let's begin by defining what licensing means in the context of Microsoft Entra ID. While every Azure tenant comes with a free tier of Entra ID providing basic single sign-on and standard reporting, advanced identity features are gated behind premium licenses. As you can see in our first two bullets, the core paid tiers are Premium P1, Premium P2, and Governance. Why do we care? Because if your organization wants to implement conditional access policies or use privileged identity management, often referred to as PIM, you absolutely must have the proper licenses associated with your tenant. Moving to our deep dive, it's important to understand that these licenses are often bundled into broader packages like Microsoft 365 Business Premium or Enterprise Mobility Plus Security, meaning your organization might already own them without realizing it. Taking a look at our flowchart, you can visually see how Microsoft Entra ID splits into four distinct licensing paths. At the top, we have our base Entra ID service. Following the path to the left, the free tier gives you the essential building blocks, basic SSO and directory sync. But as we move to the right, the capabilities expand significantly. Premium P1 branches down into conditional access, which is crucial for modern zero-trust security. Premium P2 takes it a step further, pointing directly to identity protection and privileged identity management. Finally, the governance tier introduces automated lifecycle workflows. Understanding this hierarchy is your first step as an Azure administrator to ensuring you purchase and deploy the correct tier for your security requirements. Now that we know the types of licenses available, let's talk about the most common stumbling block administrators face, the usage location property. What exactly is it? It's a required field in a user's Entra ID profile that specifies the country or region where they operate. Looking at our basics and why bullets, Microsoft mandates this because certain cloud features are subject to strict local laws and regional compliance regulations. You simply cannot assign a license without it. How do we fix this? You must set this property either manually in the Azure portal under the user's job info or settings tab, or script it during your bulk user creation process. As our deep dive points out, if you ever receive a frustrating error when assigning a premium license, checking the usage location should always be your very first troubleshooting step. Let's walk through this sequence diagram together to see exactly how this process flows in a real-world scenario. On the left, we have you, the IT admin. In the middle is the user profile, and on the right is the Entra ID license engine. Step 1, you create the user account. Step 2 is the critical phase. You explicitly update the usage location to a specific country, like the US or UK. Only after that is complete do we move to Step 3, where you request the license assignment from the engine. Step 4 shows a successful transaction, unlocking the premium features for the user. Notice the warning note at the bottom. Skipping Step 2 breaks this entire sequence. Memorize this flow, and you will save yourself countless hours of troubleshooting. Let's explore how we actually get these licenses into the hands of our users, starting with direct user license assignment. What this means is manually mapping a license SKU directly to an individual user's account. To do this, you navigate to the Licenses blade in Entra ID, select All Products, choose your specific license, and hit Assign. When should you use this? As our bullets point out, direct assignment is really only appropriate for very small organizations, or for exceptional VIP users who need a unique license that no one else gets. Why? Because while it provides immediate access, it is fundamentally unscalable. Our deep dive highlights the major flaw here: administrative overhead. If a user switches departments, an administrator has to manually intervene to add or remove these direct licenses, which often leads to wasted licenses and unnecessary costs. This simple flowchart perfectly illustrates the direct assignment process within the Azure portal. You start at the main Entra ID portal on the left, navigate into the dedicated licenses blade, and then click into All Products. From there, you locate and select the specific license you want to distribute, say, Entra ID P1. You click the Assign button, which opens a picker to search for and select your specific user. Once you review and confirm, the license is applied directly to that single user profile. It is a very straightforward, linear path, but as you can visually see, doing this hundreds of times for hundreds of users would be incredibly tedious. Because direct assignment doesn't scale, Microsoft provides a far superior method, group-based licensing. What is it? Instead of targeting users, you assign your license pool directly to an Entra ID security group. The basics are brilliant in their simplicity. Any user you drop into that group automatically inherits the licenses attached to it. Why do we do this? It drastically reduces your daily administrative overhead and ensures that everyone in a specific department gets the exact same consistent feature set. How is it done? It's the exact same portal process we just looked at, but you simply select a group instead of a user. For our deep dive, the real magic happens during offboarding or role changes. When you remove a user from that security group, Entra ID automatically reaches in and revokes the license. No manual cleanup required. Look at how elegant group-based licensing is in this diagram. At the top, we have our Entra ID license pool. We take a batch of those licenses and assign them directly to the central blue node, our sales team security group. Now, look at Alice and Bob on the left. As an administrator, your only job is to add Alice and Bob as members of the sales team group. The moment they join, the dotted lines show the system automatically flowing those inherited licenses down to their individual user accounts. If Bob leaves the sales team tomorrow, you remove him from the group, and the inherited license link is instantly severed, returning the license to your pool. Let's take group-based licensing to the ultimate level, automating it completely with dynamic groups. What does this mean? We are combining dynamic group membership rules with group-based licensing for total automation. As a basic prerequisite, remember that creating dynamic groups requires an Entra ID P1 or P2 license. Why go this route? Because it enables zero-touch IT administration. Imagine a world where you don't assign licenses at all. How do we do it? We build a dynamic query, for example, if department equals marketing, and we assign our marketing licenses to that group. In our deep dive scenario, when human resources updates a user's department attribute in the directory from sales to marketing, Entra ID automatically pulls them out of the sales group, drops them into the marketing group, and seamlessly swaps their licenses. It is incredibly powerful. This sequence diagram shows the holy grail of zero-touch administration. It starts outside of IT, over on the left with the HR database. HR updates a user's title or department to IT. That syncs to the Entra ID user profile. The dynamic group engine, constantly watching in the background, sees this change, realizes the user now matches the rule for the IT department group, and automatically pulls them in as a member. The group then triggers the license engine on the right. Finally, the license engine flows the P2 and Microsoft 365 licenses back down to the user. Zero IT help desk tickets were created, zero manual clicks were performed, and the user is perfectly licensed and ready to work. Even with automation, things can occasionally go wrong. We need to know how to resolve license assignment errors. What are they? Simply put, the system tried to assign a license and failed. It's basic administration to monitor this because, as our Y bullet notes, a failed assignment means a user is locked out of their tools or bypassing security controls. How do we find them? If you navigate to your group in the Azure portal and click on Licenses, there is a dedicated button for license assignment errors that lists affected users. Diving deeper into the root causes, the most frequent offenders are the missing usage location we discussed earlier, conflicting service plans like trying to give a user two different Exchange online mailboxes, or the most straightforward issue: your tenant simply ran out of purchased licenses. Let's review the life cycle of an assignment using this state diagram. We begin with our pool of available licenses. When an assignment attempt occurs either manually or via a group, the system evaluates the user. If they have a valid profile, they immediately transition to the success active state. However, if they are missing a usage location, or if the pool is empty, they are diverted down into the error state. The user remains stuck in this error state until an administrator intervenes, fixes the underlying profile issue, or buys more licenses, at which point the system loops back, retries the assignment attempt, and ultimately drives the user to a successful active state. Moving on to operational hygiene, we must discuss monitoring and auditing license usage. What this means is actively tracking your inventory, knowing exactly what you own versus what is currently assigned to a user. At a basic level, administrators should frequently visit the All Products blade to check their available counts. Why is this critical? 2 reasons: cost optimization and compliance. If you have 50 expensive P2 licenses sitting unassigned, you are wasting money. Conversely, you must stay compliant with your Microsoft agreements. How do you track this at scale? You can export lists directly from the portal or leverage PowerShell to generate automated reports. In our deep dive, remember that every license change is recorded in the Entra ID audit logs. If you ever need to prove to security or management exactly who granted a specific user premium access, the audit log holds the undeniable proof. This diagram breaks down the two primary avenues for audit and monitoring. On the left side, we have the Azure Portal UI approach. This is your day-to-day tactical view, providing immediate visual license counts and the ability to download quick CSV reports for management. On the right side, we have the programmatic approach using PowerShell or the Microsoft Graph API. This is for your mature, enterprise-scale operations. Here, you are writing automated weekly scripts that check license availability and feeding that data directly into your organization's internal IT dashboards. Both methods are valid, and great administrators use a combination of both to keep their licensing costs under strict control. Let's bring it all together with a summary of Microsoft Entra ID licensing best practices. What we are aiming for is a structured strategy to keep your environment healthy and cost-effective. The most basic and important rule to take away today: transition away from direct user assignments. You must embrace group-based licensing. Why? Because it standardizes your environment, eliminates the risk of human error, and ensures that new hires have the exact tools they need on day one. How do you achieve this? Standardize your identity lifecycle. The flow must always be: create the user, immediately set that critical usage location, and let dynamic groups handle the rest. Finally, for our deep dive takeaway, don't just set it and forget it. Make it a habit to audit your group structures and monitor those error logs. Proactive administration is the key to mastering Microsoft Entra ID. Our final diagram serves as your administrative checklist for licensing success. Stemming from our best practices node, we have our 4 pillars. Number 1, always enforce the usage location at the time of account creation. Number 2, use security groups to distribute licenses, abandoning direct assignments. Number 3, leverage automation by upgrading those static security groups into dynamic groups based on HR attributes, as shown by the dotted line linking groups to automation. And finally, number 4, audit regularly to ensure your licensing spend matches your actual organizational consumption. Follow these 4 pillars and your Microsoft Entra ID licensing infrastructure will be secure, compliant, and effortless to manage. Thank you for joining this session.